What's going on, guys? It's Bunkovai here for MMOBomb.com, and welcome to our first impression gameplay video for Rift, recently gone free to play. Now I'm going to spend about 30 minutes or so checking out the game, making my usual style of commentary. If you guys want to learn more about the game, I highly suggest you check down below at MMOBomb.com for the full game profile. So as you can see, I already have a level 34 Dwarf Rogue, but before we jump in on him, I'm going to go ahead and go through the character customization options just to give you guys an idea of what you can expect. Obviously, if you want to get right into the action, I will leave an annotation above, so you can just click right on that to skip over the character customization and get right into the gameplay. So to start off with, there are two different factions you can choose from, and gameplay-wise, they're offer the same thing. What I mean by that is that they both have access to the 4 classes and the individual subclasses available in the game. However, each of them does have 3 unique sort of races with their own unique racial properties that you can choose from. The Guardians here, they have access to the High Elf, which over on the right hand side you can see has a racial ability called Angelic Flight, which is basically like a jump or a boost towards a location. And then Grace of Forest, which gives them life resistance. Each of the 6 different races available have their own unique active ability that may be used in combat, maybe not, but also has a sort of unique passive which allows you to sort of resist a certain type of damage. So for example, the Mythosians here, they have death resistance, which I guess that's always nice to have, being able to resist death. And then the dwarves have water resistance and Dwarven Breakfast, which allows them to restore a large portion of their mana and health over time out of combat. The Defiants here, they have access to the Eth, which again is somewhat like a human-like race. We also have the Kalari, which kind of looks like the avatars from Avatar, but keep in mind this game was made a couple of years ago before Avatar actually came out. And then Bahmi, which is the larger race available in the game. Again, outside of just the individualistic races available in the game for each faction, they both have access to the same 4 classes in each respective subclass. So to start off with, as you can see, there's the Warrior, the Cleric, the Rogue, and the Mage. Now, each of these, as you can notice below, has sort of 3 main archetypes that they can fill. The Cleric can fill the Healer, Tank, or Damage role, and the Mage can fill the Support, Healer, Damage, and then the Warrior and the Rogue can both fill the Tank, Damage, and Support roles. Now, what's interesting about that is not everybody thinks of a Mage as sort of like a healer or support. But what you got to remember with Rift is you have access to what are called souls. And souls in a normal MMORPG would be, kind of like your type or your role. So you can have like a healing class or a DPS class or a tank class. But with Rift, you can combine 3 of those at one time to sort of create your own unique play style. So for the Mage here, they have like sort of the baseline starting soul or starting stats, which is a Sage, which would be a healer. The Grave Lord would be someone who wants to do necromancy, have a bunch of, undead pets. There's also Spellblade, and then the Pyromentalist, which would be someone who wants to still have pets like, elemental pets, but still deal in elementalist style damage. To use another example would be the Cleric. Now, the Cleric typically you think of as someone who heals everybody else, does damage from afar. But you can be the Thunderer, which is a close range, melee Cleric dealing thunderous damage with their mace. You can also be a one-handed shield, tank. Flamekeeper, which is more of dealing damage and healing at the same time. So you do get several options to sort of play your individual unique class, and you can further diversify those, choose your own pathways through the use of souls, and kind of tailor how you want to actually play your character. Now, as a free-to-play player, you get access to 2 character slots and 3 bag slots. Outside of that, though, you're pretty much not limited in what you can actually access in the game. I originally purchased the game, so I do have access to the baseline game along with the expansion content, but so do all other free-to-play players. The only difference being that there are 4 sort of souls that you gain access to by purchasing Storm Legion. And as a brand new free-to-play player, you do not get access to those 4 souls. Now, those 4 souls aren't for a particular one class. You're not getting 4 souls per class. It's 4 souls overall. So if you're playing, say, the Rogue, you're only missing out on 1 class, which is actually coincidentally the class I'm playing, or the role or soul I'm playing, which is called Tactician. Basically deals a lot with flamethrowers and ice blasts and does a lot of AoE damage, although it can be tailored for close range damage. Now, if I hit in, you can kind of see the souls available to me. Right now I have Tactician, Marksman, and Riftstalker set up for myself. And the more points you put into a particular tree, the more abilities you unlock. Not only just by choosing an ability here to put a point into, say, Battle Remote, which increases my damage and healing, but also you get baseline ability upgrades just by putting points into it. So I also get Empyrean Bolts, Empyrean Ray, Curative Vision. More and more points I put into here, the more and more abilities and perks I unlock down below. And this really is useful, especially when you have, or when you combine other classes. Say, for example, Planebound Resilience here isn't a tactician ability or buff. It's from the Rift Stalker. So by putting some points in here, namely to boost my damage and my self-healing, I also gain access to Planebound Resilience, which increases my endurance, aka my overall health. I also get access to Shadow Shift, which is a nice sort of utility, blink ability, which allows me to blink around and move around and sort of gain access to a little bit more range, because I am mainly a ranged damage dealing rogue right now. Now, that's not to say I can't play a rogue like any other typical rogue where I go stealth. In fact, I do indeed have a soul tree set up for sort of PvP, and it's really useful, mind you, because of the fact that this game and this server rather is PvP based. So it is open world PvP, and there has been a lot of open world PvP. So if you're a fan of that, then I would highly recommend rolling that, because I've seen quite a lot of people open world PvP in this game. In fact, late game, there is also areas where you can fight over world bosses, like raid events, and sort of have really large classes at max level. Now, I'm going to go here. As you can see, I changed my role. I didn't have to pay anything. I can have up to 3 roles, as you can see here, and each of these roles offers me a different style of play. So the assassin here is much more, dealing with one, target, burst damage. Mainly a PvP role, but doesn't mean you can't use it in PvE in order to, say, sneak past enemies when you don't want to, kill all of them at once. And if I just want to go for a particular enemy, I can do that, and then I can escape back into the shadows. I need a crematory torch. Now, in terms of the... Ooh, looks like I was taking damage there, so I couldn't quite go back in the stealth. In terms of the style of quests that you have access to, looks like there's a world event going on. You'll notice here, they're converging all on this point. Okay, so we'll have to run over there after I finish these quests. You notice here I have this quest where I basically burn these bodies by picking up these torches. The questing in the game is fairly standard. It's what you would expect from something on say, WoW style, where it's not all kill and collect. There is some diversity in it. You have to go save some people. There is some storyline basics to the quests themselves. However, let me go ahead and just sap this guy. This one sort of perked by... there we go. Let's go ahead and get that. Nice. Looks like they actually did save it. Yep. Nope. Still under fire, looks like. Alright, so I saved this guy. And let's see if I can get him out of here before he dies. Find the Abomination Lab key. Do I have to save you? What do I have to do with you? I don't really know. Alright, looks like I gotta kill a doctor here as well. And I gotta get a key and... Alright, so he's out of here maybe. Alright, so we gotta find out where I gotta go. Now, outside of the normal quests that you have access to, there are many other sort of looks like the abomination keys are on these guys. Alright. So there are many other sort of things for you to level up with or to do as a player outside of just, completing your quests, and grouping up. There is, of course, the Rift system, which we'll showcase after we get outside. The Rift is basically a dynamic event that occurs. Looks like that guy did not drop anything. What about you? Let's see if you have anything. Unfortunately, not all the mobs drop things that you need, although it is a fairly high sort of ratio in terms of the mobs dropping sort of required items. But let's see if I can kill this guy. This guy is really, this spec I'm in right now is not really meant for PvE so much. I've basically just gone for a lot of PvP talents, but it is useful for basically scooting around everyone. Let's go ahead and kill you as well. Now, yeah, so there's the Rift events. They spawn somewhat dynamically across the plane, and they can be different things like water rifts, earth rifts. There's also, I believe, air rifts, and basically all the elementals, including death. And by going to that rift area, you can essentially go and kill the planestalker sort of minions that spawn there, and as you complete these staged events, because there's multiple stages, harder and harder monsters will come out. and you'll be able to eventually close the rift and be rewarded for that. You'll give in extra items. None of these guys have an abomination key. Is there anything specific? I want the nearby cultists and release him from the cage. I thought I released him. Like, isn't that what I released him and then I didn't release him? Let's see. I don't know. We'll see here. These guys say that they have those keys on them, but I'm not really sure. We might just have to walk out of here. The questing itself, the actual storyline, rather, the questing is actually quite nice. There's a fairly good sort of overarching story that persists from one zone to the other, and each zone itself has its own sort of unique storyline with in-game bosses that you can sort of fight after. Ooh, what is going on up here? Craziness. Blighted Temple Room. Alright. So let's go ahead and switch back to my main sort of PvE role, like I mentioned before. Now, if I didn't want to, say, do any of this, what I could indeed do... Oh, did I kill it? No, it looks like he deactivated it. What I could do is engage in adventures, and adventures are things that can occur in any zone, not just a particular zone that you queue up for, and it will party you with a raid group at any level, and that raid group will go around and doing sort of like dynamic quests that occur throughout that zone, completely separate from the normal quests that you get by talking to individuals in different quest hubs and picking them up. Alright, so I got an abomination key now. Bring the abomination lab key to 7. Rook in the blighted pit. Looks like I gotta go back downstairs. So really quickly I'll show you. So you'll notice I have these separate little abilities. One from the marksman tree that I'll bring up here called On the Double. Again, I'm using it mainly, the marksman tree, mainly for a direct damage boost as well as a mobility spell. So I don't really use it for the main sort of attacking abilities, and in fact you will have abilities that overlap each other somewhat. So you won't use the same sort of damaging abilities that you will from soul to soul, you know, just because you have access to them. You'll want to sort of prioritize the ones that you've put most points into. Alright, so I've gone ahead and let him escape. Looks like it was bugged out the first time. And now I gotta go and kill Dr. Kevorky, whatever his name is. Alrighty here. So you may notice that each of the individual soul sort of styles play completely different from each other. You know, one style is fairly standard, you know, rogue style, and then you have another one that maybe has you acting as a bard. In fact, I can even go here to presets and show you that each of these are sort of preset roles, that are a set of 3 talents and skill, or 3 souls rather, that allow you to basically choose a predetermined role if you're not quite sure how you want to actually attribute all your points. For me, oh, gotta put my buffs back on. For me, I've always found that there's really good guys online. Let's see, I gotta kill this guy now. There's really good guides online for those that, oh, silencing me, I see. For those that want to be adventurous, you know, and I found some really sort of entertaining and unique guides. Alright, so now I've killed him. Now what happens if I grab anything from you? Linen cloth, that's all you're gonna have on me? That's nothing. Alright, so now I must report to the lieutenant. It says I should finish it here, but I'm not really sure where I finished this. Ah, maybe over here. Alright. So let's go here. This looks like we report and finish it. Looks like I can get a new item here. This gives me strength, endurance. I want dexterity, though. That is something that gives me additional damage here. And it looks like this one is slightly better, so I'll go ahead and finish that. And then I need to collect the soul prism at the blighted pit. Alright, so where is this? I'm assuming it's right where I'm at. And maybe I can soul prism. Okay, so this is a soul prism. Alright, so I mean, again, it's not all kill collect. A lot of it will be like, you know, figuring things out and going to unique little areas. Unfortunately, because the game is a couple years old, you do have some of the old, you know, traditional MMORPG mechanics. Do I have to kill that thing? What happened? Did it just respawn? Really? It respawned that quickly? Ugh. So you do have some of the more, you know, typical, you know, I have to go and actually return. You turn me into a skeleton? Come on, man. Can't even, am I attacking him? I guess I am attacking him. It's not even moving or doing anything. So you do have to return all your quests to the original, you know, individuals, though occasionally you'll notice that I can actually return that just by going over there and interacting with a certain environment object. Some quests don't need that, but the large majority of them do. So I know some people will be sort of irritated by that. And do I have to kill this thing? Well, we're going to find out. I'm just going to kill him anyways. And being that this is like a really overpowered, it's not, I don't know if it's overpowered, but it certainly makes questing severely easy. Don't really have to do much. Just kind of have to kill everything and no problem. Looks like he respawned again, and that guy respawns like non-stop. Alright, but use the soul prison on... Oh, I gotta use it on him. I should read quest tags more. But you may notice if you're familiar with playing like WoW or other games that have sort of copied some of that aspects of that, I can interact with my quest objects within my inventory by just hitting the icons on the right hand side. There's no need to... Are you still... My goodness, come on, this is like the third time. You're totally taking up... Alright, let's go ahead and break out of that. Let's see if I can kill him. The way my class or my soul works is I use these torrents, which are basically AoE flamethrowers, and as I use them... Alright, so now I gotta use this on you. Must be below, okay. And after I use them after a certain extent, they'll start stacking up these debuffs. And the more I yes! You are now human again! Awesome. So now what happens? Am I done with you? Let's go. I remember now. Thank you. I know I'm dead already, but better to die like this. Awesome. Farewell. Aw. So sad. Alright. So, what do we do now? Well, I can go ahead and remove myself from this location, which I can do quite nicely. Dealing with the tactician, the soul itself, the way this is played, like I mentioned, I have the flamethrowers. I also have access to these cores, which basically provide AoE buffs or debuffs to the enemies. I have two main ones. The curative core gives me sort of a healing over time, whereas power core debuffs the enemies, allow me to do extra damage to them. So I'm making my way out of here. I'm pretty tanky, mainly due to the planar essence stuff that I put through Planeswalker. Which is sort of the defensive tree that I opted for, not for its abilities mainly, but for the defensive buffs that it gives me, along with the planar essence, which gives me, plane-bound resilience, which gives me additional health. Alright, so let's go ahead and mount up a little bit and get to a safety zone, and then I can actually show off a rift event finally. So, the questing itself will have you go back to the same area multiple times, although it'll usually have you not kill the same enemy multiple times. It'll have you kill a slightly different variant of that enemy in the same location. You'll notice there, this whole area has been an area I've been questing in for about the last level or so, and I've had probably 15 quests in there, killing different things between those guys at the front to manticores in the back, etc. I mean, overall, the questing experience is very much like World of Warcraft. And you got to keep in mind, this MMO came out at the same time that that World of Warcraft was really in its heyday, you know, during like Wrath of the Lich King, and it definitely wanted to compete with that. But I wouldn't sell this game short by saying it's just a World of Warcraft clone. There's a lot to this game that is goes beyond what World of Warcraft does. And in fact, let me go ahead and show you this really quickly. So this is a minor rift. Some rifts, they'll open up on their own. Other rifts you can force open, and by forcing a rift open earlier on, you can prevent it from getting too large or getting larger than what you could normally handle. They do scale a little bit based on the enemies or the number of players around, but you'll notice I'll be able to tear this and sort of force it into coming out and starting up, and you'll have all these sort of enemies that begin. And in fact, the environmental enemies, like that crocodile looking thing, will indeed attack the planar enemies here, and they'll fight each other. So there is some sort of interaction between the environment. Let's go ahead and clear these up here real quickly. I love this class. Just basically spam my Q and E, and basically flamethrow everything to death, and you can quickly move on. Now, as you see there, once you get through one stage, you move on to another stage, and this is actually a pretty... I can now even join a public group by hitting that, and again, really easily I'm able to join up on groups just by either clicking on a player and saying, hey, I want to join you, or looks like I'm running out of energy here. Go ahead and use my curative core there and get rid of some of those stacks of debuffs here. You got to really get rid of as many as possible. They do provide you a buff once you get rid of them. It allows you to do more damage with these, as you can see. It just kind of instantly wipe out all those guys, no problem whatsoever. But where's my companion? Looks like you notice that that group that initially spawned and went off that way. So they're going off to sort of try to take over one of the waystone areas, which is a hub. And I can kind of explain that mechanic once I clear this out. So It's fairly easy to do by yourself. I mean, again, this is a minor rift, but the larger major rifts, those looks like my little guy that I chose to party up with, he didn't do so well and got annihilated, unfortunately. Alright, so stage complete. I think this is maybe the last stage. Usually there's 4 stages. And we just can quickly, I'm going to wait for all these stacks to overload, and once they've overloaded, or dropped off rather, I can begin again. Just kind of easily group all these guys up here. Now, if you didn't want to do PvE, let's say you had completely no interest in doing PvE, you just wanted to PvE, you can even level by just PvEing. I mean PvPing rather, not PvEing, that's what we're doing right now. In order to do that, you can just simply queue up, and there's multiple battlegrounds, or Warfronts is what they're called in this game, for you to queue up for. Come on, just a little bit more. And bam, did I clear it? Nope. Maybe a boss now. Alright. So, yeah, okay, so now we got this Pyrus Swarm boss guy. I'll clear some of those right there. This guy is super easy. Not really going to have an issue with this guy at all, because I'm the PvE master. And bam! It's going to clear it up. It's going to complete. And then you'll notice I get small little rewards over here. Some planarite, which is used to purchase common and uncommon goods from planar merchants. And then sometimes it even comes with a consumable. If you go to loot the mobs, it will do a nice thing and basically group some of them up. So if they're on top of each other, you basically loot everything at once. And in terms of bag space itself, if I hit B, you can see my bag space. You'll get access to 3 bags, and that would be like the only thing that I can say you might have some issue with in terms of like not being able to. I like that dexterity on that one. You may not be able to. Let's see if I can replace the right one I want to actually replace. Dexterity. This one doesn't have any dexterity, so we're going to replace that one with some dexterity. You might not be able to have enough room for everything, but you do get bank space, obviously. Now, a couple of the little unique features is the whole artifact. You'll occasionally find items that you can pick up either off of desks or tables, and they'll just be little sort of sparkling items, and those grant you access to sort of this collectible system, which allows you to get unique rewards. Sometimes it's like a companion or just like a chest that may be filled with some items. You get access to a lot of things. And it looks like I leveled up here, so I get 1 more point that I can spend into any of these trees. And so let me go ahead and increase the damage done. That unlocks the next tier here. And you are forced to spend a couple of points in other trees from time to time. It will tell you that you've spent enough points in a particular tree for a certain amount of time. You have to spend it in a separate tree. So the game does encourage, in fact, force you to diversify your talents somewhat. You can't just immediately pour all of them into one. Now, if we're going to go and look at the Rift Store, this is, of course, the cash up item. I got to make sure I'm going the right way. This is where you can go in and purchase different things. You can purchase things like satchels and unique mounts, experience vials, which give you an increase in boost in experience. All of this stuff, again, is not anything that's pay to win. There is, of course, the talk about purchasing, higher level gear if you want to get sort of up to speed with all of the. Let's go with these boots. If you want to get up to speed with all the raiding, which makes sense given the fact that this game already has had a major expansion, and so people are onto higher tier raids, and so you'll need to have some quick way of sort of catching up if you want to. Otherwise, you're gonna be forced to run older content, which may be very difficult to actually find players to do. All right, so let's go ahead. I already spent that point, and I get a point obviously for both of all 3 of my roles, not just the one that I'm individually working on right now. Alright, so I've cleared that out, and looks like I have another quest on there. You notice there's a couple of fire invasions that are going on. Now, sometimes there is like a massive zone-wide event, and the way that works is you'll get an announcement. There'll be multiple rifts that erupt all over the place, large and small, and usually there's like an in-game sort of like world boss for you all to join up and fight. Once you've sort of progressed through the Rift event at a certain time. There's also world events currently going on due to the fact that we just recently had the Imperial Assault sort of update, which was just released. So that has added some additional sort of Warfronts, some open world raid bosses for you to do at max level. Some new raids, I believe, as well. Some even smaller raids. So the max raid is 20 players, although you also get access to raids that are only like 1 to 2 players. So it really is a lot of content for any style of player, both PvE and PvP. And all this gear in here that you can access you can access by purchasing credits, which is basically the in-game cash shop currency, to get, you know, the different cosmetic items and what have you, you know, boost your experience or gold gain, etc. But you can even get credits. They're called Rex loyalty. They're just called Rex, rather, by having someone purchase it for you and then gifting it to you, and then you can then redeem that to buy your own gifts. So you don't have to necessarily purchase it with real money. If you find someone that wants to trade you Rex for something that you've dropped or you found that dropped in-game, you can do so and obtain that as well. Alright, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to join up for a random Warfront. You'll notice that I do get a bonus for doing a random Warfront. And they, in fact, just recently added more Warfronts here. Domination, the Black Garden, was a new Warfront they just added today. It's in the same area as the other Warfront, the Black Garden, but it is a different mode. So there's not only open world PvP, but there's also dungeon-based PvP, or, you know, instance-based PvP. And really just a lot of different things for you to actually do at late game. There's also player housing that you have access to. Different environments for you to actually choose where to put your player housing and choose what's inside of your player housing. So there is certainly a lot for players to do at max level and leveling up as well. You know, you're not going to just be grinding your way to max level. You're going to have these invasions, adventures, which hopefully we'll be able to take a look at. But essentially what adventures are is, if you, like I just mentioned maybe before, I don't quite remember, but invasions work the way that you can I jump down now? Okay, I can. You can group up, just party up with individual people in a zone. You'll get bonus experience and bonus loot, etc. And they'll have individual, I guess you'd say like raid-wide or zone-wide events that only pertain to those particular class, or those particular adventurers. That no one else will see. So it's only, oh, looks like this guy's trying to get me, but it's okay because I do quite a lot of the damage and we've got some good support. In fact, I'm going to be a supportive and put down my curative core here, which would help out. Go ahead and kill these guys as well. Now, I'm not actually quite sure how this mode works. I believe we're supposed to pick up some items and hold on to them, which is what these rune vessels, if you will, and hold on to them as long as possible. But we seem to be doing extremely well. I'm pretty happy with our performance. Alright, so I can use my bonus here to move myself up again. Nice to have an additional ability, you know, based on another sort of soul, so you can always have a different style of play, you know, a different caveat or unique sort of buff or debuff to augment your already, you know, one style of tactical play, in this case tactician. Alright, so it looks like we've gained access to a lot of these here. I'm going to come back up. I'm going to drop another curative core, which will just again keep healing people up. But we're pretty much destroying these guys. If we look in the social front, you do have access to, of course, your normal friends list. You can even ascend a friend, which recruit fans through Facebook, emails, etc. And it looks like inviting your friends to a free trial. So it looks like they haven't quite updated that yet. Looks like I was stunned as well. Because there is no more free trial. It is all free to play. If you did want to spend money on it outside of spending money on, see, I have another ability here. I can just fire my little, you know, bow, so I can be range or melee. Nice. But if you did want to spend money on the game, you can opt for a subscription. The subscription just gives you increased gold gain. It also gives you access to sort of like your vendors and everything on the go, just mobile vendors and what have you. Your mount speed is faster, and I believe also you of course get access to more character slots. Where is this guy going? Come here, buddy. Oh, hey. Alright. If anything, one of the main sort of issues that I do have with the game is the game's looks. I mean, World of Warcraft and other MMORPGs have gone for more of like a cartoony anime look, and that certainly is something that stands the test of time a lot easier than, say, a game that's trying to go for a little bit more realistic like this, or like Rift is. So the graphics are not going to be the best, but the gameplay is solid. You know, if you're into tab targeting MMOs, I mean, it's very fluid. If you played World of Warcraft, you'll notice how, you know, similarly fluid it is. And you're not going to really have too much of an issue with, you know, moving around. As you can see, some of the abilities are obviously able to channel and move at the same time. And, you know, nothing really feels entirely floaty, if you will. I got to keep my buffs going here. It looks like I can pick up this as well. I'm going to pick up a rune vessel. And what does this give me exactly? Menacing evils corrupts my very soul. Well, that doesn't sound too pleasant. But we're doing pretty well here. 451, continuously climbing. I mean, overall, guys, if you enjoy raiding, if you enjoy competitive PvP, because you do get renown from doing this, you do get basically a currency that you can use to purchase PvP gear. What's going on, guys? Am I getting shot, or is that just this thing corrupting my soul? I do not know, but I am taking quite a lot of damage. I'm pretty sure it's the corruption, but nope, looks like I'm getting combusted upon. No, don't let me die. I think that's how it works. Basically, to prevent someone from turtling it up for the longest period, it'll over time deal more and more damage to you to the point where it'll kill you outright. No one can heal you through that. But you also get, like, sometimes items will drop, which allows you to do unique, damage. A lot of the sort of unique items that you found in World of Warcraft, etc., they have the same sort of stuff in this as well. And of course, no falling damage, which is quite nice. You notice a little experience ticks as well, and also I believe you get a large experience tick at the very end if you're like successful at being victorious. All right, I am getting just like blasted by something. Let's go ahead and use my little shield there. Just gonna keep the flames of flying. Gonna take out my stacks of turret overload here, and hopefully. What do you got? Look at this damage. Just get melted. Absolutely melted. Man, I love this class. I do believe they just recently nerfed it so that the AoE damage isn't quite as high. But you can also build this tactician for single point damage. Most of the people that play a rogue in PvP, though, will play the assassin role. However, I don't like doing that. I like being more of a supportive role. So I can still do damage here, but I can also provide my curative cores. And then also this one provides the AoE debuff. Alright, so we've got this in the bag, though. They're not really having too much luck, but I'm just going to keep flaming them and keeping the debuffs rolling on these guys as much as possible. There we go, there we go. But overall, guys, that's going to be my little first look here for Rift Free to Play. I may end up doing a great air elemental. Somebody's got some special kind of pet minion now. The rogues get access to like a boar, I believe. The warriors get access to some type of like a wolf or a lion. Of course, mages get access to the elementals or the necromantic sort of skeletons, what have you. And then the clerics have access to like druid-like fairies and what have you. So you do get access to unique pet classes per each style of class that you choose to play. And I might die here. There's a lot of guys. So I can use my special abilities here. Boom. Out of the way, no problem. Come back. Curative core up. Alright, let's go ahead and drop this again. Let's keep these guys all healed up and what have you. And look at this. Easily killed, no problem. Alright, so I'm pretty sure we're going to win. I believe we win at 1,000. So I'm just going to go ahead and stay in this to get my final rewards. We can take a look at those. Besides the normal, like I mentioned, friends list, guild list, you can even do guild finder, so you can say exactly what you want to look for. I'm a raider, I'm just a casual, I like PvPing, and then people can, basically look at your application and contact you if you're interested in doing that. There's a lot of features for those that want to be social. This is a very social MMORPG. Even if you don't want to like commit to any like specific group, this has really quick ways for you to sort of group up with other people, both in the PvE, like progression outside, just through the normal sort of instant grouping with individuals in adventures and rifts. You don't have to, there's no real specific mob tagging. I've seen a little bit of mob tagging, I think, on some specific like unique mobs, but ooh, we're victorious, awesome. But a lot of things, what happens is if you attack it while someone else is attacking it, both of you will get credit for the kill. Alright, so how did I do, guys? Well, if we look down here, my damage wasn't, oh, my damage was 3rd. Nice. So I did quite a lot of damage. I didn't take too much damage at all. Got 7 killing blows, not the highest, but not the lowest, and quite a few assisted kills. So I did quite well, guys. I'm going to go ahead and leave this Warfront and get a lot of extra experience and gold and what have you. One thing that's nice is that when you kill, I forgot to mention this, when you kill mobs out in the open world, you automatically get whatever currency they give you, and then all you have to do is loot them in order to you know, get whatever inside. It looks like my game may have crashed, so it's a perfect time to end this first look, guys. If you guys want to learn more about the game, oh nope, didn't crash quite yet. But if you guys want to learn more about the game, you can check out the full profile on MMOBomb.com for more information. Probably go ahead and live stream this coming Wednesday during Bomb Live, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Answer a lot more questions. There's a lot of content to cover, guys. Sorry if I missed anything, but if you have any questions, just feel free to leave them down below, and I will try to answer them for you. Activities here, as you can see, instant adventure, looking for a group, for a quest, for dungeons as well, is one thing I mentioned. And then you can even look for world events, where this is the current world event ongoing, the Imperial Assault. It goes only to 627, but I believe it's for a high level character, so unfortunately we can't take a look at that. Alright guys, let's see if I can dance my way out of here. Dance. Yes. Oh no, man, I didn't dance fast enough. Alright, so there's my dance, guys. I'll see you for the next episode of First Look here on MMOBomb. Spunkify out.